At exactly 6 a.m., a chemical alarm goes off in your brain. Cortisol surges, your reticular activating system fires up your cerebral cortex. You wake up. At 10 a.m., your sex hormones hit their daily peak. Your alertness maximizes. This is when evolution designed you to hunt. At midnight, if you've done everything right, leptin floods into your hypothalamus and triggers a cascade that determines whether your cells repair themselves or slowly fall apart. This isn't philosophy. This is measurable biochemistry happening inside you right now, on a precise 24-hour schedule that most people violate every single day without knowing it. Dr. Jack Kruse, a neurosurgeon who spent years studying the intersection of light, temperature, and human biology, calls this your circadian operating system. And here's what makes this uncomfortable. Every time you eat after sunset, every time you stare at your phone at midnight, every time you skip the morning sun, you're corrupting the code. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what happens in your body hour by hour. Why the window between midnight and 3 a.m. might be the most important 3 hours of your entire life, and what you can do starting tonight to stop fighting your biology and start working with it. But first, I need to show you something about your hypothalamus that changes everything. Deep in your brain, behind your eyes, there's a tiny cluster of about 20,000 neurons called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the SCN. Think of it as your body's master clock. Every cell in your body has its own internal clock. Your liver has one, your heart has one, your skin has one, but they all take their orders from the SCN. Here's what most people don't realize. The SCN doesn't just track time. It coordinates an entire symphony of hormones, enzymes, and cellular processes that determine when you're alert, when you're hungry, when you heal, and when you age. And the SCN takes its primary cue from one thing: light hitting your retina. When sunlight enters your eyes in the morning, it travels directly to the SCN through a dedicated neural pathway. This isn't about vision. Blind people still have functioning circadian rhythms because this pathway doesn't require conscious sight. It's measuring light intensity and wavelength. The morning light signal tells your SCN to start the day shift. Cortisol rises, melatonin shuts off, body temperature begins climbing, digestion activates. But here's where modern life creates a catastrophic mismatch. Your SCN evolved over millions of years responding to one light source, the sun. Now it's being bombarded with artificial light at all hours, and it has no idea what time it actually is. Let me walk you through what's supposed to happen when you wake up. This is the sequence your body expects. Around 4 a.m., while you're still asleep, your body temperature hits its lowest point of the day. This signals your hypothalamus that sleep is ending. Cortisol production begins ramping up. By 6 a.m., cortisol peaks. This is your natural alarm clock. It activates your reticular activating system, which is essentially the power switch for your conscious brain. Without this cortisol surge, you'd stay in a coma-like state. At 6:45 a.m., you experience the sharpest blood pressure rise of the entire day. Your cardiovascular system is preparing to supply blood to every vital area. This is why heart attacks cluster in early morning hours. If your system is compromised, this is when it shows. By 7:30 a.m., if you've been exposed to light for about an hour, melatonin production completely shuts off. Your brain is now fully in day mode. At 8:30 a.m., your gut wakes up. Peristalsis increases. This is when your body expects you to have a bowel movement. There's even a reflex called the gastrocolic reflex that gets triggered when you eat at this time. Here's the critical insight. This entire cascade depends on one thing happening correctly. Light exposure at the right time. Miss the morning. Light, and every subsequent domino falls wrong. Here's something you can test tomorrow morning. When you wake up, before you check your phone, before you turn on any artificial lights, go outside. Even if it's cloudy, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Let natural light hit your eyes. Then notice how you feel for the rest of the morning. Notice your energy. Notice your hunger patterns. Notice when you naturally want to eat. Most people who try this report something strange. They feel more awake without coffee. Their appetite normalizes. They don't get that mid-morning crash. That's not placebo. That's your SCN finally getting the signal it's been waiting for. You're telling your master clock what time it actually is, and it's responding by running the correct program. Now, what happens after morning is where most people completely derail their biology. And it starts with a hormone you've probably heard of but don't really understand. Leptin is usually described as the satiety hormone, the thing that tells you you're full. That's true, but it's like saying your smartphone is a calculator. Technically accurate, completely missing the point. Leptin is the master regulator of your entire metabolic system. It's produced by your fat cells, and it communicates directly with your hypothalamus to control hunger, metabolism, reproduction, immunity, and critically, your circadian rhythm. Here's how it's supposed to work. Throughout the day, as you eat and your fat cells register energy intake, leptin levels gradually rise. By evening, leptin is climbing. After dinner, it continues rising. By midnight, leptin should be flooding into your hypothalamus. When leptin binds to its receptors in the hypothalamus, it sends a signal to your thyroid to upregulate metabolism. It triggers the release of growth hormone. It initiates the repair processes that happen during deep sleep. But here's the problem. Leptin can only enter the brain properly under specific conditions, and modern life violates almost all of them. If you eat within 3 to 4 hours of sleep, insulin spikes. Elevated insulin blocks leptin from crossing into the brain. Your hypothalamus never gets the signal. The repair cascade never initiates. If you're exposed to artificial light after sunset, it suppresses the prolactin surge that's supposed to accompany leptin's arrival. Without prolactin, growth hormone release is blunted. Autophagy, your cellular cleanup process, becomes inefficient. If you have chronic inflammation, cytokines like IL-6 and TNF-alpha physically block leptin at the blood-brain barrier. Your brain becomes leptin resistant. It can't hear the signal no matter how much leptin your fat cells produce. Between midnight and 3 a.m., something happens in your body that determines whether you age slowly or quickly, whether you wake up restored or depleted, whether your cells repair themselves or accumulate damage. This is the window of autophagy. Autophagy literally means self-eating. It's your body's cellular recycling program. During this window, your cells identify damaged proteins, malfunctioning mitochondria, and cellular debris. They break these components down and rebuild them into healthy new parts. Think of it like a maintenance crew that only works the night shift. They come in, identify everything that's broken, tear it apart, and rebuild it better. But they only have a 3-hour window to work. If you've done everything right during the day, if leptin has entered your brain, if prolactin has surged, if growth hormone is releasing properly, this maintenance crew works at full capacity. You wake up with cells that are literally younger than when you went to sleep. If you violated your circadian biology, if you ate too late, if you were staring at screens until midnight, if inflammation is blocking your leptin, the maintenance crew barely shows up. Damage accumulates. Day after day, year after year, this is how aging accelerates. Dr. Cruz calls this the most important 3 hours in human biology. And most people sleep right through it without ever giving their body the conditions it needs to use it. I want you to think about what you did last night between 8 p.m. and midnight. Did you eat anything? Did you snack? Did you have a glass of wine? Did you watch TV? Scroll your phone? Work on your laptop? Every one of those activities sends a signal to your hypothalamus. And the signal is, it's still daytime. Summer is still here. There's still food available. Stay in growth mode. Don't switch to repair mode. Your body can't tell the difference between the sun and your iPhone screen. It just registers light, and when it registers light after sunset, it suppresses melatonin, delays the leptin surge, and shortens your autophagy window. This isn't about being perfect. It's about understanding the trade-off. Every hour of artificial light after sunset is an hour stolen from your repair window. You get to decide if that trade is worth it. Now let me show you what happens when this system breaks down completely. When your circadian rhythm is chronically disrupted, inflammation becomes your baseline state. Here's the mechanism. Your immune system runs on a circadian schedule too. During the day, certain immune cells are more active. At night, others take over. There's a protein called toll-like receptor 9 that fluctuates throughout the day, peaking and dipping on a precise schedule. Researchers found that when mice were exposed to bacteria at the low point of TLR9 activity, they developed severe sepsis and died quickly. When exposed at the peak, they fought off the infection easily. The same pattern shows up in vaccination studies. Vaccines given at the circadian peak of immune activity produce stronger, longer-lasting immunity than vaccines given at the wrong time. Now think about what chronic circadian disruption does. Your immune system never knows what time it is. TLR9 never peaks properly. Your inflammatory baseline rises because your body is constantly in a state of confusion. This is why shift workers have higher rates of cancer, heart disease, and metabolic disorders. It's not just sleep deprivation, it's circadian destruction. And here's the connection most people miss. Inflammation blocks leptin. Leptin resistance worsens circadian function. Worse circadian function increases inflammation. It's a spiral that feeds itself. There's another signal your hypothalamus uses to set circadian rhythm, and almost nobody talks about it. Temperature. Your body temperature isn't constant. It follows a precise daily curve. Lowest around 4 a.m., rising through the morning, peaking in late afternoon, dropping through the evening. This temperature rhythm is so fundamental that it affects everything from cognitive performance to immune function. Your brain works differently at different temperatures. Your enzymes have different efficiencies. Even your DNA repair mechanisms are temperature dependent. Here's what's fascinating. When you're in a cold environment, your hypothalamus can actually switch from using light as its primary timing signal to using temperature instead. This happens through a chemical called endothelial nitric oxide synthase. When cold activates this pathway, it essentially tells your SCN to ignore light and pay attention to temperature instead. Why would evolution build this backup system? Because in winter at high latitudes, light cycles become unreliable. Days are short, the sun is weak, but cold is consistent. Cold is the honest signal that winter has arrived. This is why cold exposure in the evening can actually improve sleep. You're giving your hypothalamus an unambiguous signal that it's time to shift into night mode. No confusion, no mixed messages. Here's something counterintuitive you can try tonight. About an hour before bed, take a warm shower or bath. Not because warmth helps you sleep, but because of what happens after. When you get out, your body temperature drops rapidly. This drop signals your hypothalamus that night is arriving. Melatonin production increases. Your body starts preparing for sleep. Then, keep your bedroom cold. Around 65 to 68 degrees. This maintains the temperature signal throughout the night. People who do this consistently report falling asleep faster, sleeping deeper, and waking up more refreshed. They're not doing anything magical. They're just giving their hypothalamus the temperature cues it evolved to expect. Your ancestors didn't have central heating. When the sun went down, it got cold. Your biology still expects that signal. Now let me show you what happens to your hormones when you get this right. When your circadian biology is working correctly, your hormones perform a precise symphony throughout the day. Let me walk you through the full cycle. Morning. Cortisol peaks to wake you up. Ghrelin, your hunger hormone, rises to drive you toward breakfast. Testosterone and other sex hormones hit their daily maximum around 9 to 10 a.m. This is when you're most alert, most motivated, most capable of focused work. Afternoon. Cortisol gradually declines. Your fastest reaction times occur around 3:30 p.m. Your greatest cardiovascular efficiency and muscle strength peak around 5 p.m. This is when your body is optimized for physical performance. Evening. As light fades, a hormone called VIP, vasoactive intestinal peptide, begins declining. VIP is highest in the morning and lowest at 6 p.m. As it drops, your body starts transitioning toward night mode. After sunset, if you're not exposed to artificial light, melatonin begins rising. Leptin starts its journey toward the brain. Body temperature begins dropping. Midnight. Leptin binds to hypothalamic receptors. This triggers prolactin release. Prolactin initiates the growth hormone surge. Growth hormone activates autophagy. Your body enters its deepest repair state. 3 a.m. Autophagy peaks. Cellular cleanup is at maximum. Cortisol begins its slow rise toward morning. This entire symphony depends on proper light exposure, proper meal timing, and proper temperature cues. Miss any of these signals and the orchestra plays out of tune. Here's the uncomfortable truth about modern life. We've created an environment of perpetual summer. Artificial light extends the day indefinitely. Heating systems eliminate the cold signal. Refrigeration and global shipping make every food available year-round. Your hypothalamus has no idea what season it is. It's receiving summer signals in January. It's receiving daytime signals at midnight. It's receiving food availability signals when your ancestors would have been fasting. The result is a chronic mismatch between your environment and your biology. Your SCN thinks it's always summer, so it never fully activates winter repair programs. Your leptin receptors are constantly stimulated, so they become resistant. Your inflammatory baseline rises because your immune system never gets clear timing signals. This isn't a theory, we can measure it. Modern humans have disrupted cortisol patterns, suppressed melatonin, elevated inflammatory markers, shortened telomeres. We're running summer software year-round on hardware that was designed for seasonal variation, and the system is slowly crashing. The question isn't whether this affects you, it does. The question is what you're going to do about it. Think about this for a moment. When was the last time you actually experienced winter? Not just cold weather, but true winter. Short days, long nights, limited food variety, extended darkness. For most of human history, winter was unavoidable. Your body had months every year to run its cold-adapted programs, to deepen autophagy, to clear accumulated damage, to reset leptin sensitivity. Now we've engineered winter out of existence. We fly to warm places, we heat our homes to summer temperatures, we eat tropical fruit in February. Your genes don't know this. Your hypothalamus doesn't know this. They're still waiting for a winter that never comes. This is why some researchers believe that deliberate cold exposure and seasonal eating patterns aren't biohacks. They're corrections. They're giving your body the environmental signals it evolved to expect but no longer receives. Now let me show you how to actually implement this. Here's how to start working with your circadian biology instead of against it. Morning. Get outside within the first hour of waking. Even 10 minutes of natural light exposure sets your SCN correctly for the entire day. Don't wear sunglasses during this time. Your eyes need to register the full spectrum of morning light. Eat your largest meal earlier in the day. Your digestive system is most active in the morning and early afternoon. Eating a big dinner and skipping breakfast is backwards from what your biology expects. Afternoon. If you're going to exercise, late afternoon is optimal. Your body temperature peaks around 5 p.m. and your cardiovascular system is at its most efficient. This is also when injury risk is lowest because your muscles are warmest. Evening, start dimming lights after sunset. I know this sounds extreme, but even reducing light intensity helps. Use warm-toned bulbs. Avoid screens for at least an hour before bed, or use blue light blocking glasses if you must use them. Stop eating 3 to 4 hours before sleep. This gives insulin time to clear so leptin can enter your brain properly. Night. Keep your bedroom cool and completely dark. Even small amounts of light can suppress melatonin. Your skin has light receptors too, so darkness matters even with your eyes closed. This isn't about perfection, it's about trend. Every day you get these signals more right than wrong, you're supporting your circadian biology. Every day you violate them, you're accumulating damage. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Your body isn't broken, it's not failing you, it's responding exactly as it was designed to respond to the signals you're giving it. When you feel tired all the time, that's not a caffeine deficiency. It's a circadian signal that something is wrong. When you can't lose weight despite eating less, that's not a willpower problem. It's likely leptin resistance caused by circadian disruption. When you can't sleep, when you wake up unrested, when you feel older than your years, these aren't random malfunctions. They're your body telling you that the signals don't match the biology. The good news is that circadian biology is remarkably responsive. Start giving your body the right signals and it starts responding within days, not months, days. You don't need expensive supplements or complicated protocols. You need morning light. You need evening darkness. You need to eat when your body expects food and fast when it expects fasting. Your circadian rhythm isn't a constraint, it's a gift. It's millions of years of evolutionary wisdom encoded into your cells, telling you exactly how to thrive. All you have to do is listen. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight, try one thing, just one. Maybe it's dimming the lights after sunset. Maybe it's putting your phone away an hour before bed. Maybe it's setting your thermostat a few degrees cooler. Tomorrow morning, try one thing. Get outside before you check your email. Let natural light hit your eyes. Notice how it feels. These small changes compound. Each day you align more closely with your circadian biology. You're building momentum. You're teaching your hypothalamus what time it actually is. You're giving your body permission to run the programs it's been waiting to run. If you want to go deeper on this, I've covered the cold thermogenesis connection in previous videos and I'll link those below. Understanding how temperature and light work together is the next level of this. Subscribe if you want more content like this. And drop a comment telling me which part of your circadian rhythm you're going to work on first. Your biology is waiting. It's time to stop fighting it and start working with it.